Hello, this is Juice Dancer here. If you clicked on this video, then obviously you're having some trouble with PvP. I'm going to try my best to give you some starting pointers on how to be slightly, competent at PvP. Now, PvP in Dark Souls 3 is sort of like fencing. You wait for an opening and you take advantage of it. If you just attack blindly, you probably just end up getting killed. Like what I do here, I see that he's dealing with other, those really tough NPCs in the area, and I took advantage of that, and I actually ended up nearly killing him even. And the Farron Greatsword is great for that, since it has wide sweeping attacks for both its running and standard L1s. And, and another thing that ties in with this weapon is don't be predictable. If your weapon can do something more than R1, do it. If you do nothing but do the same thing over and over again, you will get punished. Especially by more experienced PvP players. It's pretty much a guaranteed parry if you do R1 only. And R2s are great in this game because you can charge them up and release anytime you want. Well, of course with a limit and all that. It pretty much allows you to just pull off that heavy attack, at just the right time when you need it. And, another thing, basically, think on how a boss fights. It has a lot of fast attacks, but it also has a lot of really delayed attacks. And they catch you off guard, right? Just try to think more on how that boss fights and try to replicate that a little. Just don't get too system-like on how you attack. Try to change it up every once in a while. Swap out a weapon or use one of your many tools. And onto the subject of tools, it's always great to go into PvP with a large variety of different weapons or tools like black firebombs, Lloyd Talismans, throwing daggers. Throwing daggers are great for chip damage and they're really fast and you can pull them out and it can be an unexpected surprise attack. Of course it doesn't do a lot of damage, but it's perfect for finishing off people from at close range or, at range. And Lloyd Talismans are great for making sure people don't run away and just heal up. But when you do, make sure to give chase. And it's always good to keep in mind that when people are roll spamming, it's good to keep running into them while they're rolling and time a carefully placed running attack, which will catch them through their wall. And it's great for people who are trying to run away. Trust me, it's a good tactic to get a hold of. And whatever else, it's really up to you. Roped firebombs are great as well for attacking people who are behind you, and resins are great for giving you that little bit of extra damage you need, or perhaps some items that help you boost some resistances that help you fight that buffed Dark Moon Blade, buffed Fire Blade, well, usually katanas nowadays. So keep that all in mind. Now, when it comes to, also, weapons are not something you just pick up and master immediately. So if you start losing with a particular weapon, don't blame it on the weapon itself. You only really have yourself to blame. You don't really know if you're bad with a weapon unless you've gone an extensive amount of time with it. What I'm trying to say here, without rambling like an idiot, is that try to use items and weapons that complement your playstyle. Trust me, it will help a lot. If there's a weapon that you cannot just figure out, try a new one. You never know. Sometimes you might find a combination of weapons that suit you really well. Now on to actually using weapons themselves, which I guess I'll start with greatswords, since obviously Farron Greatsword, Hollow Slayer Greatsword, it's kind of my thing. Basically, there are some weapons that have this thing called hyper armor, and greatswords are pretty much a lot of their moves have a lot of it. Especially, like the greatest example would be Hollow Slayer's Greatsword. Its fast, agile movement complements its hyper armor really well. And pretty much, from what I know, when it comes to the Hollow Slayer at least, that's always more into the middle of the attack. At the beginning attack, usually weapons can still be interrupted, but if you're already midway through an attack, you probably won't get interrupted when using a big weapon. So this is when it comes into baiting out opponents. Basically, you wait for them to, you read their movements, you predict when they're going to attack you, and then you time your attack just right so you won't get interrupted even if they hit you, and you can pull off that nice 2-hit combo. All weapons will always combo into 2 hits unless you're using something as absolutely dreadful for some reason, which is a good thing to know. Though, also make sure to use weapon arts. Even if you don't really use them that much, there's still a little bit of extra moveset to your weapon. And some of them are really good, like the Farron Greatsword. I mean, the Hollow Slayer Greatsword, has a stance. His stance and the attacks within the stance, well, the attack himself, not the stance, will give you pretty much hyper armor throughout the entire attack. It's great for interrupting people who are just running up to you and doing R1 spam, and it does a great amount of damage. And the R2 is great for people who are also running towards you, or that special delayed hit that they don't see coming for some reason. I've actually broken someone's guard with this stanced R2, but I do have the Night Slayer ring on. That could contribute to it, just to be frank. And it's good to know every single aspect of your weapon, like I do with my great swords, the Farron and the Hollow Slayer. Although this isn't a quality build, you're seeing a pure dex build that uses great swords. I did not see that coming. I actually thought I was going to go into this using rapiers and scythes. And, yeah, you never know. It can surprise you, this game. I thought I would use something completely different, but hey, I use great swords now. That's my thing. Maybe noticing that I am pausing a lot. It's kind of hard to describe, Dark Souls PvP without explaining how an entire weapon works. It kind of changes the entire game depending on what weapon you're using. Not gonna lie, like if you try strength weapon then a dex weapon, it's a world of difference, trust me. And I think I'll start doing actual weapon guides instead, because they'll help you figure out, how to use that weapon efficiently and, give you a better idea on what to do in PvP. You should... I don't really know what else to say. I pretty much covered all the starting tips that newcomers will be able to handle. And I am not that great at parrying, so you're going to have to look up another guide completely separate for parrying. Trust me, those things can get complicated sometime for some reason. At least they were in Dark Souls 2. Somebody made an entire 20-minute video just for parrying. Basically, I've yet to figure out this game entirely, but those should be the things you should keep in mind when being fresh into the experience of Dark Souls 3 PvP. And as I get more experience, I'll probably remake this guide and make it better, have more helpful advice and all that. I would have probably used a lot more weapons, a lot more weapons with different kinds of movesets, hyper armor, all that special jazz. Yeah, I have yet to even make my strength character yet. So let me know if this guide was helpful or just random rambling that you probably already knew. Then the whole 2 people who are going to see this, make sure to tell me. Besides, I'm starting to think that guides aren't my thing. I should probably just stick with just random PvP videos and highlights. Though, if I'm going to continue doing guides, I will be doing a PvP guide for claws, since I am going to try them out soon, and I really want to see how they work. They have pretty cool, weapon art. That will be cool. So if you're to take anything away from this, that, and to recap, variety is key. Coming into a fight with a large, quantity of different tools, fire bombs, resins, Lloyd talismans, whatever else you decide to take with you for some reason. And to make sure to time your attacks, use a combination of quick, delayed, and everything in between to catch your opponents off guard. And also, one last thing, try a shieldless playstyle. Trust me, if you know how to roll all the attacks of other players rather than just block them, it'll help you out. And on the same topic, shields can be useful. Like, there are some weapons that if you block the attack and then immediately respond, you can get a free hit in. Like the Farron Greatsword running L2 will you can actually get a backstab on it, believe it or not. I've seen people do it. Though, of course, I use it in a way that I don't let people get backstabs on me. So that's everything I pretty much know about Dark Souls PvP so far. I will update this if I feel like I missed a few things, which I probably have. I'm just sort of moderate at this game right now. I lost some fights, won some fights. And I know this is going to be an important topic to cover. I almost forgot. Ganks. They're not as hard as they look. Basically, when it comes to fighting a gank, they seem to have a collective lower IQ. I'm not insulting ganks, I'm not being salty. They just don't seem as intelligent. They'll often just run at you and just spam R1 or try to put you in an everlasting stun lock. Basically, just try to bait them into your attacks and you should be just fine. And try to separate them as much as possible, or buy yourself time for another invader to come in. It's all about spacing and sort of managing the gank. It's kind of like its own game within itself. And if you can do all that, ganks are literally no problem for you. Right, since I have nothing else to say, and after reviewing some of the audio here, a lot of mic bumping as it would seem, sorry about that. I'll just leave you to watch the rest of the PvP, uninterrupted, without my stupid, annoying, low-tone voice to interrupt you. Right, well, good luck in PvP, and I hope you took something away from this. And